Do you guys build your habitats more like this and want to build your habitats more like this? Well, in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys advanced tips on how to build creative habitats filled with creativity. So without further ado, we're going to jump straight into this episode of the Zookeeper's Guide. I hope you guys enjoy. Let's get creating. So you guys want to learn how to make more creative habitats, better looking than just this bland old habitat. I mean, this is all that's necessary for an animal like the warthog, but you can give them more spice, landscaping, and more. So I'm going to be teaching you guys exactly how to do so by building a habitat very similar for the warthogs, just opposite this basic habitat here. So first off, what I like to do is start off with the sculpting of their terrain. So we're gonna go for a bigger paintbrush and then maybe start pushing down on their habitat to kind of give some elevated so I like to build the habitat just around like a lowered ground so that it can also give them, and then also by roughing up the landscape in there gives it more of a lowered feel. So I like exactly how that looks. I'm gonna lower this actually a little bit more, lower it just like that, and then we're gonna get the roughen tool and kind of place some blotches all over this piece of habitat here to kind of give them kind of uneven ground, because of course, I mean, that's not boring. So what I also like to do is maybe build two pathways, like elevated pathways. So I'll grab an elevated pathway, maybe build it up this, then bring it down, maybe take the snap off like that. Then guests can kind of go up there and then scope out the warthogs. So then we're gonna build another one just like that, except I gotta build this more outwards. So then now what we will do is build everything around that. So now that we got a foundation, what I suggest doing is basically paint the edges where you want your barriers to kind of go with maybe the sand, so you can kind of give an outline of where you want your barriers to kind of be. So by doing that, then you basically have a mark out of the layout of your habitat. So just simple like that. And then we're gonna grab our barriers as well. And then also you do want to go look at the Zoopedia as well to kind of see what they need. So they only need a grade 2 fence about 4 feet high, but it's a good thing we're going to be using a little bit of creativity here. What I like to do is build the null barrier, and then not so much. Null barriers is basically like an invisible barrier where if it's good enough, the animals really won't even think about crossing it. So after that, what we want to do is we're gonna grab a habitat gate. That gate. What I want to do is also is a staff path just right there. Connect that. It's the smart thing to do. And you're gonna grab again the habitat gate, connect that up just like that. We also do want to do is smooth that out. The incline is not so bad. All right, now this is where one of the episodes I will be making is on blueprints will come in handy. Is you gonna go and get a blueprint from the workshop. I'm gonna type in here fence, and it's gonna give me an array of fences to work with to place in here. I'm gonna go with these log ones. So we're basically gonna be duplicating this all around here, make it more look natural. This will take me a minute, so just bear with me. Right, now look at that. Just look how much better that looks than that. It's a little bit larger, but it's not as basic as just building a box. So building layouts like this is just absolutely so marvelous and lovely to do because it gives a character, honestly. So we're gonna throw our warthogs in there. I got 2 warthogs to spare, so we're gonna throw them in there. We're gonna speed this up so that our caretakers can rush them in there. And the very first thing we're gonna want to do is make sure that they can basically traverse this whole entire habitat, so they can't get out, which is nice to know. And the reason why we lower the habitat like that is so that you can look down in there. That's pretty much the only reason why. And plus also to make it more deeper for them so that they can't really get out. So now we're gonna mess around with their terrain, get their terrain all spiffy. So I'm gonna get this all spiffy and spiff for them. So I'll be back in a jiff. Sweet. Alright, now that the terrain is done, we're gonna basically see that they have so much land, navigable space, navigable and land area. So now, important now is to get their enrichment. So we want to strategically place enrichment when building a habitat to not obstruct from different things. So basically like a mud bath, you might want to choose between a mud bath or a forage box, depending on what your choice is on that. And then get some spike, a rubbing pillar right over there, sprinkler, maybe pop 2 sprinklers in there for them. Maybe they will like that. Now we're gonna need food enrichment, so another food barrel like that will give them plenty of enrichment in there. And then we're gonna move on to basically giving them some shelter. So we're gonna turn on blueprints. Blueprints is gonna come in very handy. You could always go to the workshop and get a prefabbed built like rock structure just like this. There's plenty to choose from in actual fact, but getting the proper not so large habitat is the tricky part, honestly, because some of these are built so large, unnecessarily large, but I mean they are for larger habitats, so I think this could do. I think I like this one. Otherwise you could end up building it by yourself. I'm not really the greatest at building rock structures, so I'm just gonna grab one of these prefabbed ones, kind of set that in the ground right there. Perfect. And that should work for their hard shelter. We can take a quick look-see. Yes. So instead of they're gonna need way more space in there. So instead of building, that's also gonna have to move, in fact. Give me a moment. So the nice thing about building something like this is that now you can go and delete that and they won't be able to get out still. So you can basically just delete all the extra barriers built there. They won't be able to get out. So let's check their habitat once more again. Maybe it'll stay at 100. It's at 82%, which is good enough for now because, I mean, we're only gonna have 2 in there for now. So without further ado, after enrichment, after hard shelter, you want to put down food and water, of course, is very important. But what we're gonna do now, instead of placing just a regular drinking bowl like this, we're gonna grab the terrain tool again and then kind of dig their pond. Dig them a pond just around right like that. I think we might go for a different layout than that. I guess that's not really what I'm looking for, but I need to now come back and flatten all this out. So a great idea is always to figure out what you want to do first and then do it. So basically lay out your habitats before you actually start placing stuff in there. Nice pond like that works because we're gonna place around rocks and everything. So basically this habitat takes more time to build, but in the long run it's gonna look so much better and it's gonna basically rate up your zoo so much, like very fast in fact. Sometimes it will do that. I'm gonna grab a palm tree quickly. We're gonna take off a line to surface and go back over there. Grab the same palm tree. Now it's not gonna kind of stick to the surface there. But you always do want to watch for your coverage like that. Otherwise, in Sandbox, I can show you guys a cheat. In fact, go to the settings, go to, I think it's Sandbox here. And what you're going to want to do is go to animal settings. Then you can turn off all the you can turn off animal welfare. And then you can turn most of the stuff off. Just go through here and see what you want to turn off. Yeah. For like this, we can turn off plant need. Then that'll turn off their plant need. And then so then now when you go back to the coverage, you can put as much as you want, which is basically what I want to do. I want to litter their habitat with plants, rocks, and so forth. So I'm gonna place some of this large ferns, some lily pads in the water. Give the water a little bit of edge. Use some of these century plants. Prickly side of your habitat, man. Only at 11%. Really, it don't really even matter anyway. I do want to give them way more. So I'm gonna go back on there, and then their terrain. They don't have enough long grass, so I'm gonna put long grass just right in this corner over here, where they're not gonna really worry about it much. But I do want to place more soil throughout their habitat, and such, because that's the kind of terrain that they live in. And then maybe some sand as well. Give them a little bit of taste of home, you see. Alright, now that that's taken care of, now terrain. Move on to some more nature. So I'm gonna nature up this entire habitat, and then I'll be back in a jiff. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so as you can see, and as you can see through the time lapse, I have absolutely decked out this habitat. It is absolutely filled to the nines with foliage, rocks. It looks lovely. Now compare that to this. Can you guys see the clear difference when you just take your time and use your mind just to kind of think out where you want things and fill the habitats to as capacity as you can. And you can come up with something like this, where this is absolutely ridiculously good. This is probably one of the better habitats that I've probably ever built. But yeah. We all learn creativity, and if you guys want, I'm gonna be putting this habitat in the workshop, so I will leave a link to my workshop down in the description so you guys can go check that out. So without further ado, I think you guys just go and get creating. Let your creativity fly. Don't think small, think big. So even if Like for instance, these warthogs, they didn't need 1,000 square foot of land area. They only needed about 300, 400, which is what is in there. So if you give them more than they need, they can thrive, because basically more is good, less is bad. So without further ado, we'll see you guys in the next episode of the Zookeeper's Guide. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. If you guys want to go watch the previous episode on the Zookeeper's Guide, I'll link it on the top right corner up here. And if you guys want to go watch a different franchise, my other sandbox mode, I'll link another one just up above, so you guys can go look at those and check out those episodes. So we'll see you guys in the next episode of the Zookeeper's Guide. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have fun creating.